And the early voting numbers are out, some of the stats for early voting are out, but not the exact numbers yet. The early voting data suggests that in Democratic candidates for governor in New Jersey and Virginia are heading into election day at a slightly better position than Kamala Harris. Andrew Cuomo may have emerged at a stronger position than the primary, but a key part of Zohran Mamdani base also surged during the early in-person voting. CNN experts analyzed the pre-election voting data in all three locations compared to 2024 in New Jersey and Virginia to better reflect the changes. Early voting analysis can provide hints about which candidates may be well positioned, or how candidates will do on election day when many of the ballots will be cast. In all three locations, early in-person voting has concluded, while mail ballots can continue to arrive over the coming days. The Democratic candidates for governor, U.S. Representative Mikey Sherrill, in a stronger position than Harris was last year before Election Day. Harris eventually won the state by about 6 points. Through the end of the third day, registered Democrats led registered Republicans in mail-in ballots over 41 points, a couple of points better than the 39-point gap at the equivalent point last year. But unlike last year, Democrats also led a nearly 4-point lead in in-person early voting. Democrats trailed in in-person voting by 2 points. As the end of the early in-person voting in November 2nd, Democrats represented a larger share of the total pre-election electorate than they did at this point last year. Registered Democrats led registered Republicans in total pre-election votes by 22 points, compared to a 16-point lead at this time last year, according to data from Catalyst. New York City older voters turned out more. Younger voters caught up. Among registered Democrats, a group that will make up the lion's share of New York City mayoral voters. Older voters turned out more at the start of in-person early voting than in the primary, when strong backing from younger voters helped propel Mamdani to a surprise victory. But the electorate got younger through the early voting period and is considerably younger than in past mayoral elections. The electorate considerably younger than in past mayoral elections, and a CNN analysis of early voting data from the New York City Board of Elections found that daily turnout among Democrats got younger over the course of early in-person voting, while older voters outnumbered younger ones by about 50% points in the first day of early voting. That dropped between 20 points in the final day. Now, about 49% of registered Democrats, early in-person voters, 51% of all early in-person voters are age 50 and up, while 70% of Democrats voters are age 18 to 29, 16% of voters overall. That's roughly the same as the total Democratic primary electorate, when about 48% were 50 or older and about 18% of voters were 18 to 29, according to data from L2. Polls have shown that younger voters overwhelmingly favor Mamdani, while Cuomo, who is running as an independent, has a smaller lead among older voters. This year's turnout is also far younger than the city's last mayoral election in 2021, when just 9% of voters were ages 18 to 29 and 62% were ages 50 and older. There's no early voting data about who voted for each candidate. The most Cuomo-friendly precincts cast 177% of their primary early in-person totals, while the most Mamdani-friendly precincts cast 132% of their early voting totals. Still, at the precinct level, Mamdani versus Cuomo vote from the primary stayed the same. The changes so far in geographic distribution alone cannot be nearly enough for Cuomo to overtake Mamdani among Democratic early voters. The Virginia Spanberger appears in slightly stronger position. While voters don't register by party in Virginia, the geographic breakdown of votes cast so far suggests the Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger is in slightly stronger position heading into Election Day than Harris was at the same point in last year's election, when she won Virginia by less than 6 points. The Democratic distribution of early in-person votes and mail vote ballots is similar to what they were at this point last year, but mail ballots, in which Democrats typically perform better, make up a slightly larger share of the pre-election vote this year, 22%, when they did at this point last year, 19%, resulting in a Democratic breakdown of the combined pre-election vote that is more Democratic leaning relative to the same point in the 2024 election. During early in-person voting, counties where Trump won last year averaged 62% of their in-person votes cast last year, while Harris won. Counties finished at 60%. The worst performing counties were places where Trump won more than 75% of the vote. They finished at just 55% of the in-person votes they cast last year. Harris won counties finished in-person early voting strongly, narrowing the gap from 10 points to 2 points now, largely coinciding with an increased number of voting locations opening in large Democratic-leaning counties such as Arlington and Fairfax. This story has been updated with additional details for more CNN News. Final New York voting tally shows 735,000 check-ins in the early voting period from October 25th to November 2nd. Sunday, November 2nd, the last day to vote early before November 4th election, marked the highest early voting day in New York City history. Polls have tightened. A lot of the gambling websites have Mamdani at more than 90%. The Republican doesn't chart on those websites, but some polls have him at third. The Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin says that he's optimistic about the party chances of winning governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey. The Democrat Mikey Sherrill and the Republican Jack Ciattarelli are in dead heat, but they hope that the Democrat will win.